Now in the final subtask of the JSON data processor project, we're going to be working on the delete data function, where we can delete any student record based on the input given by the user. That is, we're going to ask the user to give an ID, and based on that ID, we're going to delete the student record. So our objective is to update the delete student function. So over here, first we're going to ask the student for ID to delete, and if the input given by the user is not a valid number, we're going to print out an error message, or else we're going to find and delete the student record by looping through every record present in the students.json file. And if it matches, then we're going to delete it, or else we're going to print out an error message saying no student found with this particular ID. Finally, we have to update the JSON file, and you have to write it back to the original JSON file, because every JSON file operation we performed, we just printed it to the user. We didn't do any change to the actual JSON file. But over here, we're going to be updating the actual JSON file. We have to display a confirmation message at last, like this. Here we have our expected output. Coming to the delete student function, first we're going to open the actual JSON file using load data function, and then we're going to ask the user to give an input ID based on which you have to delete. And over here, we're taking input from the user as to which ID they want us to delete. And .term is going to remove any white space which might be present at the start or end of the input given by the user, thereby normalizing all the input. So if you notice, we're taking ID as a string input from the user, basically because we're going to apply integer.parse into that input, and if we are able to convert that input into an integer, then it's a valid integer, and if you are not able to convert it, then it means it's not an integer, that is either a string or any other value, and then we're going to print out an error message. So what is try and catch? So try and catch is a method to handle errors in Java. That is, we're going to try whatever code is present in the try block, and if you get an error, we're going to perform whatever code is present in the catch block. So you can see in the try block, we're trying to convert the input given by the user into an integer, and if it's not possible, we're going to perform whatever code is present in the catch block. That is, we're going to print out an error message, and we're going to return out of the function. Now we're going to create a new JSON array object called updated list, which will contain the other student records after deleting a particular student record. And we're going to initialize a new boolean value called found, which will be set to false at first. So first we're going to run a for loop to iterate through every single student record present, so that we can find the actual ID given by the user. So here we're getting a particular student for an iteration, and if the ID of the particular student we're iterating through right now is not equal to the student ID given by the user, then we're going to add it to the updated list JSON array, or else we're going to change the found variable to true. Now over here we have if not found, that is, if found is false, then we're going to print out no student found with this ID, and we're going to print out the student ID, and we're going to return to the main function. But if it is found, that is found is true, then we have one more try and catch block over here. So over here we're going to be opening the actual JSON file by first creating a file writer object called writer, which will open the file present at this particular location, that is the students.json file. Now after opening the file present at this particular location, that is the students.json file, we're going to write the updated list JSON array to that particular file. So we are given toString over here because we want to convert a JSON array into a text file. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to do that using toString. And the reason why we've given 4 is that so that we can have an indentation of 4 spaces, which will give proper formatting for the JSON file. And after that, we're going to close the writer object. Then we're going to print out student with ID, student ID, deleted successfully. And in case you catch an error in this, we're going to print out error writing to file. Let's just run this code once. So let me first view all students, and let me delete student with ID 2. So I've deleted it successfully. Let's look at the student records now. So you can see we've deleted student with ID 2. Let's just submit this code once. So I've passed all 4 test cases. So that was it for our JSON data processor project. And here we have some improvements which you can perform in case you're interested in this project. And this particular project was part of our course Java Projects for Beginners, where you have 10 different Java projects from which beginners can get familiar with Java. And if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe head over to CodeChef, try this project out for yourself, or any other course which might interest you. And if you're already watching this on CodeChef, great job diving into the solution. Move on to the next project. Thank you.